Now, in moving forward, we will address one more thing, a wart from 2023 that potentially is maybe one of the bigger factors why the team didn't get over the hump. I know the execution that people are going to talk about against the 49ers, maybe Dan Campbell not taking the points, but there's a wart, and it was revealed at the Super Bowl, a big wart. And sometimes it doesn't get reported at the time, but you kind of maybe got a sense of it just based on how CJ Gardner-Johnson, then AKA CD Deuce, started to treat reporters and how things were kind of the vibe that he kind of created in that locker room. Now, one guy's not going to create a toxic environment, but it's just noise. Okay. And so here's the other wart, maybe even a bigger wart than what people are discussing, but not as big as totally derailing the season. But CJ Gardner Johnson was not happy. He was not happy at the midway point of the season, and he got a vibe. All right. And it was a contract money vibe. You bring in this guy, unfortunately, he gets a major injury
Yeah.
and he decides, I'm not going to rehab in Detroit. He's like, I'm just going to go back to Florida, do my due diligence, work hard, and be able to get back. And he did. Credit to him for working hard and getting back. But he was getting the vibe. Where's my contract? I don't have any guaranteed monies left here with this team. Where's my new situation? Where's my new contract? You're going to bring me back. What's going to happen? And he's not sensing that it's going to happen. He's being told that. He's working hard, working hard. He's being told that, hey, we're going to value you. We're going to put something out there. And I think in that situation, he was looking for that kind of throughout the rehab. So I thought he maybe said, okay, if I work hard in rehab and show that I'm going to get back well before people think, they'll put an
Hmm.
offer or start to say, hey, we value you and things like that. But I think at some point he got the realization, oh no, I see Branch. I see Kirby Joseph. I see Ifatu
Yep.
Melifonwu. I see the writing on the wall. Wait a minute, I'm a starter. Why I got to split time with Ifatu? What's the deal? And he got the writing on the wall and he let his emotions get in play. Now, did I think he sabotaged the situation? No, but it was real intriguing. Remember, Dan Campbell put out an onus. I don't want flagrant penalties. I want you to keep in check. He put that directly in the media publicly. I don't want retaliation. Keep your level head. What's the first thing that CJ Gardner Johnson does is he goes after Debo Samuel for his own personal vendetta, gets a penalty in that game, and he looked terrible in that contest. So this says there's no guarantee that you take a swing on somebody that's risky and it works out because there's contracts involved. And then
Yep.
when the season ends, they're like, see you later, alligator. You're not part of the team. We're not giving you that contract. And he comes out and he's like, that season was hell. And they lied to me. And he put that out there publicly, and rightfully so for him, his own personal situation. But I do think that when you look at it from the Lions' perspective, they got better, younger, cheaper in regards to, hey, we got foundational pieces we got to pay. We got da. We're going to use you for the year of service that we got. You were hurt and you kind of were not exactly the locker room model that we're looking for. But unfortunately, he gets the ring. He gets the investment from the Eagles and they're like, oh man, we were missing that dude. So one can make the argument, well, that was a swing you didn't take. You invested cheaper, younger in Brian Branch. Maybe the argument, and someone could say maybe CJ Gardner Johnson, that's happy and healthy with Kirby Joseph, might have been a situation that could have resulted in further advancement. How do you make how do you wrap your mind around what CJ Gardner Johnson said publicly? And now that he gets a ring, knowing that, well, it was a swing that they took, but he ended up kind of being a little bit not similar to the other guys in the Lions locker room.
Yeah, I mean, for him, it must have been a frustrating year because the whole premise was he signed the 1 year deal so that he could prove to the rest of the league that he was deserving of a long-term contract. And so he took a prove it deal with the Lions. And in week two, he goes down with the torn pec. And initially, the diagnosis is he's done for the year, but he was back by the end of the regular season. And so while he did an excellent job of rehabbing and putting in the time to get back on the field, there were some factors that were not in his control that just didn't play out his way. And as a role, when he or as a result, when he came back, his role was a little bit diminished within the Lions defense. And I'm sure that's a frustrating thing for him to, number one, have to spend the entire season rehabbing when you were hoping to prove to the rest of the league that you were one of the best at your position in the entire league. And then now you have to work your way back from a significant injury. And then number two, like the last half of the year, if Fatu Malafanu just got hot and was rolling. And when you look at what he brought to the defense as a blitzer and as a safety, and he had a couple of huge interceptions, like when you take all that into account, like you can't take that guy off the field. Like he's just been playing so well for however many games that was, and now just because C.J. Gardner-Johnson gets back, and I know that there's a proven element where Gardner-Johnson is without a doubt the more proven player than Melifanu, just based on the fact that Melifanu's missed a ton of games over his 4 years of injuries, but Melifanu was the right guy at the right time for the Lions. And so, with the Lions being a meritocracy where you earn your spot, like C.J. Gardner-Johnson had to work his way back into the rotation. And so it didn't work out last year, and he wound up back in Philly and got a ring, and that's great for him. But I also think that parting ways with him, in a way, benefited the Lions defense because Brian Branch moved from the nickel cornerback position to a full-time safety. And I think the Lions got the best version of Brian Branch in 2024. So, yes, they invested in a younger player as opposed to going with the veteran who's proven it. And while Gardner-Johnson is a very good player in this league, I think for the Lions, the move was a net positive because they got to pair Branch with Kirby Joseph, and now they have one of the best safety duos in the league. And you can make the argument that if it was C.J. Gardner-Johnson out there, it would be the same exact thing. And I think that's totally fair. But I think that Branch and what he brings to the defense, he's a younger player. He doesn't have the body of work yet, but he seems to be on track to become a guy who can work his way into the all-pro conversation and the perennial Pro Bowl conversation. So I think the Lions and the Eagles both won, and the Eagles got Gardner-Johnson in the Super Bowl, and the Lions got the chance to put Brian Branch in his natural habitat, so to speak, at the safety position. And it worked out for him because Brian Branch was really good this year.